video, you'll get to witness 1 full year of my recovery. I'll address as many issues as I can, things like how long was I on a walker? How long did I wear compression socks? When did I go back to work? What complications and pains did I experience? I will dive deep into physical therapy, in which I am a firm believer, and this video will reveal why. It's also very important that I point out here that my surgery was through the anterior approach. As I understand it, that's less invasive. So if you're having a different approach, then this video may not apply to you. I was 56 years old at the time of surgery. I lived a very active lifestyle. And remember, everybody is different. But I hope you will be encouraged by my results and that your worries and fears will be replaced with hope and excitement of getting your life back. All right, now let me get back to the chronological recovery. Here on day 1, I want you to take note of my gait. That is, the way I'm walking. Because I believe the gradual transition in your gait is something you need to be aware of so that you'll have realistic expectations on how long it might take you to walk normal. Now, on day 2, I started physical therapy at Physical Therapy Extra in Pampa, Texas, under the direction of Dr. David Godino and his staff, who are all wonderful.
Morning, Hillary.
It's important for you to hear Dr. Godino describe what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I'm going to include some of his explanations of these exercises, why I'm doing them, and what's going on inside my body. But before we go any further, I want you to hear from my surgeon, Dr. Shepard, about what holds this new hip together. How does that all hold itself together? I guess what
Well, yeah, it doesn't. Let me get over here a little bit. So we cut this part of the bone away. All right. And then this part's called the stem. This is the on-growth patch I was talking to you about earlier. This is where the bone adheres. Now, the initial fixation is press fit, so it wedges in and it fits very tightly inside the bone. And
you have to drill the inside of that bone out?
We do. We hollow that out, and we start with smaller sizes and get bigger until we find the one that fits just right. And then this is a dual taper wedge, so it tapers down in 2 planes, which means that when you wedge it in, it's very secure.
Okay.
And then over the next couple of months, the bone grows into this here.
That's so neat.
That's how that stays put. The socket is very, very similar. Actually, it's an identical idea. The hole that we create, the preparation there is slightly smaller than the implant. So we force this in by 1/2 or 2/3 of a millimeter, but it creates a really tight fit.
Okay.
And then the bone over the next couple of months grows into or onto that rough surface.
Okay. It does have a nice magnet on it, though.
This does.
Yeah.
Yours does not.
They're not coming back. And you put a screw in there to anchor it down?
Yeah, that's just a little extra security. It goes through these holes up into this bone here, so that just to help hold it still while the bone heals in.
Okay.
That's it. And then these go in together, okay? And all the muscles and things around your hip are what hold that in place.
It doesn't snap in. It's the tendons and muscles that are holding it all together?
That's correct.
So how do you get all that, how do you glue all the tendons back together?
No, nothing happens to the tendons during surgery. They're just...
You're shoved out of the way?
Yeah, they're just out of the way.
Oh.
So we leave all the muscles and everything. All the gluteal muscles and things are here. There's some very small muscles that attach over here from the pelvis that come over.
So obviously, it's important to have strong muscles. Muscles that are stronger than if you just went home and sat down and didn't do anything. So I want you to see the exercises that I did, how I progressed in doing them, and how more exercises were added as I improved and got stronger. I also want you to hear Dr. Godino's descriptions of why these things are important.
So you know the rules.
Don't do too much. Do what you tell me to do, no more, no less.
Good. So you're gonna need to rest longer because you'll need to give this muscle time to relax. You'll need more time for this muscle to recover as well as your hip flexor. So just rest longer. Okay. I don't care how long you rest. We're just trying to make sure these muscles are working. This is activation, not strength training, right? Trying to get brain to muscles to do what we need them to do. Does it feel like whenever I come here, is it pain or is it just tension? Because of the
tension and just, I mean, literally feels like I've got like socks or a whole towel wadded up on there. So it was back home, and when back home, I made an effort to try and get up and walk once every hour, as directed. But then I ended up missing PT for 5 days because I had this excessive leg swelling. If you haven't watched part 2, you'll see all the details about that if you go back and watch part 2. But anyway, so I would do my walking, and I also would do just the little basic PT like I learned at the hospital about picking up your leg or doing the little squatty things. I would do that morning and evening also. Now, I never got outside. It was December, late December, so it was really cold, and plus I didn't trust myself on that walker over that rough ground. So I just continued to walk little laps around the house. Day 7, back to physical therapy, and just doing a simple leg lift is still pretty difficult. What makes the difference between on your feet and exercising immediately versus if you just went home and laid down and didn't do anything for a month?
Well, systemically, your joints and bone and muscles, when you weight bear and you put pressure through your system, you get improved neuromuscular activation from the brain to those muscles saying, pay attention. Your system wants to go into its easiest state, meaning all I have to do is keep you breathing and keep you digesting. Your system wants that. And so it's going to revert to that as quickly as possible. And in order for us to ensure that you don't atrophy to the point where it makes life way harder, your rehab way harder, we have to get you moving very quickly. And that's why I encourage you, when you wake up, turn those muscles on as quickly as you can, because the research indicates when you do that, you reduce your overall time and duration of rehab. So the big thing is duration of recovery. You'll still recover. If you got out of this surgery and went home and didn't do anything, you'd still recover in the absence of an infection or whatever, but it's going to take you a lot longer. And the quicker that the research shows, the quicker that you turn these muscles on post-operative, the quicker you get that activation from that brain into those muscles, the less atrophy you have, and the quicker you get back to doing things you want to do. It's really hard to screw this up, but at this phase we still could. So we don't want to get too crazy with it, too aggressive range of motion wise. So it's just about keeping the muscles active to ensure that joint is approximated to the best degree that we can. Helps the prosthesis grow into the bone, and it helps your whole system start to heal. Okay?
I'm tempted to go out, take the cane, and hit the street.
I don't like the cane yet. Your gait pattern is still a little bit abnormal, so I'd rather you keep that until that gait kind of straightens out a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. What I don't want is 10 minutes of walking and walking all weird for 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is why that needs to go with you until that straightens out a little bit. And part of that's muscle strength. I mean, if you come in here and you're feeling okay, I don't have a problem with you bringing your cane and us working on it. But don't use it outside yet.
I did have a few more days of PT, but I'm going to skip those since they didn't add anything new. However, I did continue doing the little physical therapy, just like the little exercises at home that I learned at the hospital. And then, of course, also continue doing my walking. And progression, look at my gait. How am I doing? Is it getting better? Yeah, still a little gimpy. So this is day 13. Still out with the walker here, as directed by my physical therapist. Hopefully, I have therapy tomorrow, so hopefully he's gonna release me to just use the cane if I can get my gait even. I'm having a hard time getting my gait even because the front is really sore, especially if I take a long stride. And all I'm getting at there is when I take this long stride like this, I get a sharp pain up front, up in the leading part of that left hip, my surgical side, obviously. And so that's why my gait is still a little gimpy. It's because when I push off like that, it hurts too bad and I got to get off of it. Anyway, we'll make a 1/4 mile this morning. That's what I'm shooting for. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Don't forget to breathe. You gotta breathe. Yeah, I'm shooting for the. I'm gonna have to take a break when I get to the corner there. So I'm sitting here over a year after the surgery, watching this video and editing it, and it's hard to watch. I mean, this is almost 2 weeks after the surgery, and you can tell I'm having a hard time. Gonna make it. Oh. This is our house. Mercy. You know.
Really engage your bottom, those quads. Push those knees straight. Push those knees straight. Yeah, this is a little bit more quad heavy. It's okay. The goal here is not necessarily muscle activation. The goal here is to get that joint moving. Increasing mobility, decreasing edema will increase muscle activation. So there's that. But this is mostly just to kind of get that thing warmed up. Yeah.
We ain't weightlifting here.
No, sir. Not yet.
Not yet.
No, it's good. So you're gonna pull back.
Hold it for how long?
5 seconds. And then nice and controlled back out. Good. Keeping your foot off of the floor.
Don't rest there.
Don't rest there.
It feels so much better. Yeah.
You can rest when you're out in between them. And when you're ready, it stays off the floor there. Good. Just like that.
Excellent. Now, most of these exercises I did for 3 minutes. They would set a timer. Probably because I lack the attention span to keep count of how many reps I've done.
Okay, so we're gonna put this 3-pound weight on you. This one is the one where you're kicking that foot out straight. Good, really squeezing. Yes, really squeezing that quad. Hold about 5 seconds there, and then nice and controlled back down. Rest as long as you need to in between them, and then back up when you're ready. Good. Just like that.
The first week, a lot of these exercises were just killing me. They were really difficult, especially like the ball squeezing and the marching. But as they got easier, they added new stuff also that was tougher. Yeah.
Jeff, when you come back, I want you to kind of step back. Don't put weight on it. Just kind of touch that toe back to kind of open that hip up on the front end. But start there. Start back here. Bring it through. Take it back. Bring it through. Good.
When I first started these, I was mainly doing it on the non-surgical leg. Here I'm using both, and in about a month I'll be doing it on the surgical side only.
If it's pinchy and it's a little bit more superficial, especially when you describe it on the lateral side of your hip, it sounds more muscular in nature. Whenever you have a pinch and it's anterior, like deep, or in the butt, that tells me it's more joint. So when it's lateral, it tells me that it's muscular. And so my assumption is if I can kind of give you a little more room in other positions, then this is going to be a little bit more tolerable. There's limitations with the surgery, but most of it is due to edema, ensuring the joint capsule is respected and not blowing through that thing. So, and in this position, we're in no jeopardy of blowing through the joint capsule where he went through, because you're approximating the joint in this position. If I was to bring it across you and extend, that puts that where it wants to go into that incision.
When you see the way he's about to twist and torque on my leg, you may be thinking, no, don't do that.
I got a timer over there.
And that was my instinct too, but actually getting that all stretched out and limbered up felt good.
I want you to feel this in your butt or in the kind of the front.
No, that's in the back here.
Yeah.
Well, right there on the, yep, there and on the corner.
Okay.
That's another one where it's hard to relax and let you do it.
Yeah.
That's supposed to hurt,
Right.
and it doesn't anymore. It's funny. You know, so I thought the same thing also, walking, taking a stride with the right leg where the left leg is extended back, and it's, the brain is going, no, don't go that far.
Because you've been.
Yeah, I've been limping around for years.
Yeah.
Now, in part 2, you saw me getting dressed only 7 days post-op, and you'll notice a huge difference in how easy it is to get dressed now just a week later. And how about the sock? Am I ready for the sock? It's, okay, no, not quite. I gotta fall back on the little sock putter-on-her tool. All right, what about tying the shoes? All right, I can get the right side, and I'm good. How about the left? Oh, man. Come on. Yeah, not gonna happen. And now, first day outside with the cane. Note, still maybe a little gimpy, but just having a hard time still pushing all the way off with that left leg, the surgical side. Then we're off to Lubbock for my 2-week checkup.
All right, go ahead and bring your feet together and move just a little to the right. There you go. And then arms out away from your body. Right there, just hold real still.
What do you see when you look at that?
I mean, we mainly just make sure that the stem's still down the canal and that the cup's in and that everything looks just like it was before you got out of the operating room. Yep.
Very cool. All right, thank you, Holly. Appreciate it. Yeah.
So is everything going good?
Yeah, I think so.
So let me have you lie down and we'll kind of check everything.
Right side,
both
left
sides.
side.
Both, we're going to check them. Just go up to my hand and then back down. Work up to 50 to 100 a day of those.
Ooh,
Because what happens is we don't cut the muscle, but we separate it and then we retract it. And so the more that you work on the straight leg raise, you'll be working your quads and those hip flexors.
Okay.
Working on that. So that would be the main thing that I'd be working
50
on.
to 100 a day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Okay.
do, just alternate legs. Working on that.
Okay.
But yeah, everything looks great.
So back home, and again, get up and walk about every hour.
Your hip extension is going to be limited. I mean, typically with gait pattern, you're going to need, a certain amount of hip extension. And right now, due to a number of different things, you've got
Thank you.
less. And it's less partially because it's habit, because it's been a problem for a while, but it's also less because you've got still joint trauma. And so don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Don't get depressed if I can't still hurting to take that long stride that I want to be able to take.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's a combination of neuromuscular input from your brain to your body saying this is normal, and it's also your joint to your brain saying this isn't horrible anymore. And that takes time. I mean, and you're still on the very front end of this whole process. So, yeah, don't get depressed.
Okay.
So bring your feet under you a little bit more. There we go.
There we go.
No discomfort with that?
Not going up, no. Gets excited, whacked me with that tail right across my thigh the other day. I like to screamed and hollered and cried. And still a little tender. So I'm just gonna go for a quick little walk here in the neighborhood, just around the block, quarter mile. Still got my cane. Right here. In fact, there's even a little wobbly little something down inside there that wobbles, wiggles around. But that dude right there hurts all the way to there. And I've got another one on the groin right there that hurts like crazy. But the step part, that long step I'm talking about that hurts me, it's way up here. Which, obviously it should be. That's where they were cutting and ripping and pulling. It's just hard. I'm trying hard not to limp. To push all the way back and pull it front and all the way back and front. So another hard thing has been reprogramming my brain and convincing my leg it's okay to take that long stride, to push that left leg way back there, to take that step. Because I've been limping around on it for so many years. And plus those muscles are like, oh my gosh, you want me to go that far? I can't go that far anymore. All right, so this is 21 days, 3 weeks post-surgery. And I got my cane. My gait's, still got some pain. Still got some pain here in that stride right there, stretching that back. That's probably why David Godino has me doing the lifts, and then when I go back at that exercise, is to point that way back and straighten that leg, because that really stretches all. That's the exact same area. Everything feels all jammed up and tight and pinchy. But the bottom line is I'm getting, my walk gait, I guess, is good enough now. I don't need this. I don't need it to walk. I don't know if I need it to maintain my gait or what. Still swollen. Puffy. I'm not puffy, but I don't know. I just feel there's still gunk in there, you know what I mean? Gunk. I hate to say that word, gunk. I don't know what it is. Fluid, dried up crud, whatever you want to call it. But either way, it's coming along okay, I guess. Not until you've suffered from severe hip pain do you recognize the joy of being able to put on your own socks.
Okay, stay above 100.
Okay. So that watts, gotta keep that above 100.
Because I want this leg straight, and you're trying to reach
Oh, okay.
that, so you feel that here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Wesley. Good. I don't care if you're up tall or if you're down here. Either way, okay? Just nice and trying to keep equal pressure as you drive through your feet.
I can get Lonnie. It's all right if I get Lonnie. What's the weight on this, David?
The plates are both 45, and the
Probably 100.
sled itself is 20. So about 110 pounds. Wrists in here, just, there we go.
Noodles.
If you need to rest longer, you can. Toe to heel on this, pushing through those heels. I want you to feel this on those quads.
Ooh.
If you need to rest longer in between,
Yeah, I think I will.
what do you think, buddy?
Tough. Hurt, burn, well, not hurt, but burning in a good way.
Yeah.
I got one more. 4? I think that was 3. 18-pounder.
Yes, sir.
Now, pulling and pushing the sled was hard. Sitting on the box with an 18-pound weight was hard. A lot of this is hard. But this little rubber band pulling thing it was brutal. But, man, did it ever make them hip muscles strong. And you'll get to see evidence of that coming up when I'm able to get back to work.
You okay here? Tight anywhere?
I still feel all the gunk. Now we are coming up on week 4. And so my lovely wife, the lovely Mindy Bunner, will not have to be my chauffeur much longer.
Coffee cheers to that.
So on Monday, physical therapy is really tough. I mean, I jumped from just kind of laying on my back and doing foot raises and stuff to doing pushing a 100-pound sled, pulling a 100-pound sled, doubling the weight on my feet, doing squats with the weight. And Dr. Gadino said, we're going to light that hip up today. I went home pretty sore, and then Monday evening, I was so bad I couldn't walk. I mean, I had to get my walker back out. It hurt so bad. I was a little upset. Especially, you know, what I've been struggling with is this feeling tight when I take that long stride. And that was so bad on Monday. Today's Wednesday, so just 2 days ago. And then Tuesday, still hurt. I mean, I got my cane. I hadn't been walking much with the cane. I've been carrying it, but not walking much with it. But boy, I really needed it yesterday. And then had some work I had to do and ended up sitting at a desk. I sat too long, and I was pretty miserable yesterday also. But then I woke up this morning. I'm like, oh, hey, that's not near as bad. So anyway, it's kind of funny how therapy and all this stuff works, and what Dr. Gadino has described as working those muscles to heal them, to make them heal. You know, get some blood flow in there, get them suckers healed up. So anyway, 4 weeks. Today's the last day for the anti-clotting pantyhose. So I'm excited about that, and not taking aspirin every day. So I quit taking the pain meds on day, I think 5 or 6. I'm going to gloss over some of the physical therapy until they start adding new exercises, which they continue to do as I progress. And I went up to physical therapy probably 2 or 3 times a week up to this 4-week period. Then we backed it off to only twice a week and then backed off later. But I was also doing stuff at home in the mornings and evenings, though not as severe as what I was experiencing up at Physical Therapy Extra. And that's the other thing I want to talk about walking. It's not, at this stage, it wasn't about distance as much as it was about frequency. So I would probably get up and walk a quarter of a mile several times a day, 2 to 3, sometimes 4 times a day. But then I would also get up at least every hour and just make a little lap around the house or two. And I would do that several times a day. So that's where I was at here at week 5. And I'll continue to add distance to that as time progresses. I have needed the cane. And what ends up happening is once I get, I wouldn't even less than a quarter of a mile, this muscle in here just starts feeling wore out. You know how you feel if you're working out, if you're doing push-ups or whatever it is you're doing, and your muscles start to burn? This muscle does that, and it seems like pretty quickly. And I was having a hard time, as Dr. Gadino has told me to try and have a good gait. Don't be limping, right? But what I notice is when that muscle gets really tired, I start limping. And so what I found is even, I would say as less as 5%, maybe 10% of my weight on this cane reduces the amount of that burning. And so thus allows me to maintain a non-limping gait. The other thing I wanted to point out is the differences that I've had between recovery on this hip versus this one I had done 4 months ago, the first one I had done. And so this one's hurting, this one's hurting a lot more in here. Whereas the first one, most of my pain was in a long strip here and on top of that knee. But as far as the stride, boy, I really got over that really quick. So it's interesting, you know, we talk about people having different responses, different recovery rates, different problems. Just me, myself, and my own body having 2 separate replacements, and I've come to my neighbor, and I come to realize that my recovery is different, even though it's still me, you know what I mean, and the same procedure. So anyway, keep that in mind also. I don't think there's any always and forevers, obviously, given that my sample size is now 2 and I've got two different responses. So anyway.
So we're gonna walk backwards uphill, okay? So what this is gonna do is this is gonna force us to extend our hips, okay? And load in a kind of a little bit more of an eccentric position, okay? So you're basically walking like this uphill. So this loads your quads. This works on activation of those glutes to get better hip extension.
So I continued doing all the exercises you've already seen. Here at 38 days, they added walking backward uphill on the treadmill, as well as what I refer to as the big gray ball from hell. And it didn't seem to matter how many weeks I did this exercise. It never got any easier. Here at 6 weeks, this muscle is still getting burning really quick after just a couple hundred yards. And I'm walking anywhere from, I started to say half to a mile, but I walked a quarter this morning. That was more because I had work to do. But anyway, I'm walking a half to 1 mile a couple times a day. So I'm doing anywhere from at least 2 miles and sometimes as much as 3 miles in a day of walking. And I did want to get my gait recorded. And it still feels just awkward. I mean, I don't know if I look awkward or not, but it just still feels a little goofy. Physical therapy, as you have seen, is going pretty good. I would say escalated pretty severely last week, as well as walking backwards uphill on a treadmill. That's been a bit of a woolly booger. In fact, I even had this one feeling some pain.
Keeping your front leg forward, and I just want you to just step back, and you can use your hands to the degree that you need to, okay? So if you don't need them, then you don't use it. If you do, then keep it a little tighter, and you can pull yourself back up, okay?
Okay.
And I want us to work one side currently, and then we'll work the other side. This is just helping.
Do you care which side?
Not yet. We're going to do both, so I don't care.
I can do that better than I could.
Well, then we're doing it at the beginning of the day today. So this is normally pretty tough for people when they first do it.
Now, this isn't surgery related, is it? Is this just me staying off of that hip for a decade?
I think it's range of motion limitations, and then I think it's muscle weakness in these more single leg dynamic activities.
It did take several more weeks, but I got where I could do this without any help from the straps. Dr. Godino is aware of my outdoor lifestyle.
Down and back 4 times.
And so that means being strong not only forward, but also laterally, so that I'll have the strength and quickness to catch myself if I stumble so that I don't fall. Developing balance, also very important. I actually got where I could do about 20 in a row. I also thought this would be a good competition on the TV show Survivor. Today is week 7. For those of you in Rio Linda, that's 49 days. And I can say I'm doing really well. Still just a little bit of tightness on this one long stride, which has been about the only thing, and even that is getting pretty small. I mean, you can see, I'm trying to be careful. I saw the surgeon the other day, and he said, no, one thing you don't ever want to do is throw that leg out and then twist away with it planted. So no basketball, no rugby, but he said you can hike, you can ski. What are you gonna do? No jogging, it's too hard pounding, which is fine. I have a strict rule to run only when chased anyway. But the point is, look at my gait. I mean, I feel better than I have felt since I was in my mid-30s. I can walk longer. You know, and remember I would talk about going half a block and this muscle would start cramping. I'm at 7 weeks now, and so it is not. I mean, it gets tired. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like that wore out. Oh, like you've done 1,000 push-ups and right on number 900 and you're about to die. But it just, I mean, really, it's just amazing stuff. It really is. Hey, coming in for the home stretch. Get to my little spot there. Okay, well, not bad. 17 minutes, 16 seconds. And that's a mile, 1 mile. 15 minutes is my goal. So, I got sweaty. Man, 7 weeks. It's just so astounding. I mean, it almost makes me cry with joy to be able to walk and not hurt, and not only even just walk without hurt anymore, but actually be able to walk at pace and be able to keep up some speed. And I mean, not speed. I'm okay. I'm not a fast guy. I'm just saying to be able to walk and get around, untie my shoes, my boots. 2 weeks later and already so much better at this exercise. Here's another one about balance. I'm tied to a 50-pound weight. Stand on one leg, side step. It's harder than you think. Also continued pushing and pulling the sled, bouncing the ball against the trampoline. Didn't do any more of the leg lifts. Haven't done any of those in a long time. Today is, it's week 9, 2 months, and doing phenomenally well. I will say I had a setback last week. I threw my back out and hurt to take a breath, hurt to take a step. I was basically down for about 4 or 5 days, which is embarrassing, to be honest, because, you know, you would think if you're going to be that crippled, it should be something grand, you know, like I carried a pregnant woman out of a burning building and oh, my back. But instead, I was putting on my pants. And then I couldn't walk for 4 days. But anyway, what I realized was as I was sitting during those days, this hip started hurting. And when I put weight on it, man, it was a bad stab pain. But now, so this is actually a 1 whole week since my back went out. Back is 99% better at this point. Hip was really stabbing. I got out, walked a mile. The first half, every step was hurting, but by the time I got back around, I feel fabulous. So, check this gait, huh? How you like me now? It's just amazing to me how good everything feels. I really feel like I've got my leash back on life. I feel 30 again. My physical therapist waved a finger around me and said, okay, well, that's great, but don't forget the rest of this is all still 56. So take it easy.
Takes a whole year to heal from for most people.
Right.
A little stiffness, soreness, achiness would be very normal.
Right.
Having those minor symptoms to slowly but surely fade away over the next 3, 6, or 9 months would be the most common scenario.
Okay.
In that time frame, you can get back to all your normal activities. As far as I'm concerned, there's very little that I would consider off limits. I think when you try something new or different, you should probably just take it slow and not bite it all off at once.
Define. Okay.
You can do any of the hiking you want to do. You can go. I hesitate to send you out for the weekend and.
Right. Go climb Wheeler Peak in New Mexico. Right. Not up for that.
Start with something else
okay.
first. But yeah, this looks great. X-rays are very nice. Your range of motion is above average. Your incision is healed. There's nothing really left to do but wait and let the body finish healing. The most common mode of failure for a joint replacement in the short, medium, and long term in 2024 is infection. Just so you'll have that information.
That can go here?
Well, any bacterial infection that's untreated if it's putting bacteria into your blood, can end up in your hip joint. So you don't want to run around with a bacterial infection that's untreated. Bad toenail, bad tooth, anything like that, strep throat or some other bacterial thing that you get, just needs to be treated. That's it. You just infections tend to follow unhealthy people. So if you're metabolically unhealthy, if you got bad habits, if you immune compromised for some other reason, those folks need to be extra vigilant. You're a healthy person, right? Just keep your heart and lungs healthy. Your hips are going to be fine. When you get sick, get treated.
Okay.
That's good advice.
Okay. Yeah, my neighbors already know I'm odd. 3 months today, 3 months here, 6 months here. I feel so good. Right now, it's so worth it. As long as you have insurance to pay for it. I will say this, it is good to feel good again. I got back to field work in about 4.5 months after surgery. And what I found was I had been somewhat sedentary, and all that activity, when I got up the next day, it hurt so bad. But only a couple more days of up walking around and I was back to normal. So it's indicative of don't sit around, stay active. Because if you sit around and then get active, those muscles get tired really fast. 6 months after surgery, Mindy and I had the opportunity to travel up to Oregon along the Columbia River and got to hike up and see these incredible waterfalls. But one of my favorite things, a real bucket lister for me, was we hiked to Mount St. Helens. I've been wanting to do that since 1980. Then we slid over to the Oregon coast where I got to walk on the beaches with Mindy. Then a few months later, we made it out to Yellowstone, and I got to hike down and see these waterfalls and the grandeur and things I would have never been able to do if not for my 2 new hips. And yes, sometimes they hurt. Sometimes they pinched. When I woke up in the morning, sometimes I was sore. Sometimes the muscles were getting tired. But I could do it, and the more I did it, the better it felt. So don't get overly worried if it hurts sometimes. Just keep using it, and it'll feel better. Well, 1 year, 2 new hips, a year and 3 months and 1 month. Thank you for following along. I love hunting. I haven't been able to go hunting in the last 2 years. I've been super excited here 2024 to get back out in the country, do what I have such a passion for here in the central Great Plains of the United States. I want to say thank you to Dr. David Shepard and Lubbock Sports Medicine, Ginger. Thank you for doing the scheduling. All of y'all that work there, Holly, all the nurses, and all the staff. Thank you so much. Y'all are outstanding. I want to say thank you to Dr. David Godino, my physical therapist, and everybody that works there at that office. Well done. Thank you for making me strong. And a special thank you to my sweet wife, Mindy, who played nursemaid to me hand and foot. Could not have done it without you, baby. Love you. For those of you who are considering hip replacement, let me say this. I know you're scared, okay? I know you are. It's a scary, and it is. It's gonna hurt. And recovery, as you have witnessed, is challenging. It's difficult, but the physical therapy is so worth it. To get my life back is so worth it. To be able to do things other than just walk to the vehicle, walk to the house, walk to the office, walk back to the vehicle, go back home, recliner, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, and that was it. That was basically what I was down to. And now, I got a new lease on life. You can do it. I'm a schmuck. If I can do it, you can do it. How amazing it is to me, the technology that men have learned to do and the way God designed our bodies to heal and adapt. It's just absolutely blows my mind. So I just want to encourage you, and look, I know there are horror stories out there. And I also recognize that I'm probably in the higher percentile of recoveries. But I do want to encourage you, if you want your life back and you're scared of it and you're worried, and what approach is the right approach and who your surgeon is, you know, I know that that matters. Clearly that matters. What country you're in, that matters. But I just want to use myself as an example of how it can be. And I want wonderful things for you. And I hope that you get your life back and you can get back to doing the things and living life and loving life.